Nebraska had a rough week versus Illinois, to say the least. So, in today's video, it's time for our weekly edition of Husker risers and fallers, studs and duds, who played above expectations, who played below expectations, and so much more. So, really quick, we have a lot to discuss in today's video. Make sure to hit that like button. If you're excited about seeing Nebraska get a bounce back victory versus Purdue this week, I know I am, so hit that like button. And hey, if you're new to the channel or a returning viewer, make sure to subscribe. I post daily Nebraska football content, and I'm not slowing down anytime soon. So if you're a diehard fan of this program, make sure to subscribe. You will not regret it. But without further ado, let's get into it, going over Nebraska's risers and fallers, studs and duds throughout week 4 versus Illinois. Let's get things started with our riser, as always, a guy who played above expectations, balled out. Without further ado, you guys should not be too surprised. Isaiah Neyor is that guy. 90 yards receiving for the Huskers, 2 touchdowns. He should have had 3. One was taken back by the referees on a controversial call, but Isaiah Neyor, he's an X factor, man. And it felt like whenever Nebraska needed a big play offensively, he stepped up in a big way. This is the guy that we dreamed of having coming in from Texas. We just didn't know if we were going to get him because of, his injury history that always held him back. We are getting the Wyoming version of Isaiah Neyor back, how good he was in 2021. That's what we're getting here with him. Again, 6'4", can go up and get any jump ball, but he's also super fast and super shifty. This guy is incredible. Start giving him his flowers, because this is the best receiver Nebraska's had since Trey Palmer, one of the best we've had, period, in the last 2-3 decades. So Isaiah Neyor off to a really hot start. Hopefully, he continues that over the next couple of weeks and throughout the season. So, of course, that is my riser to get things started. Let's go to a faller. Ty Robinson is a guy who I've been singing the praises of over the last 3 weeks. I said on Friday, I think Ty Robinson has been Nebraska's best player, period, throughout 3 games. Unfortunately, he did not have the best game versus Illinois. According to Pro Football Focus, he graded out as the worst starter on defense. Just not great. Just not great from Ty Robinson. And the first things first, I'm going to give credit to Illinois' offensive line, because they shut down our defensive line as a whole. It wasn't just Ty Robinson had a poor game. It was Jamari, it was Nash, it was Lenhart. Everybody on the D-line for the Huskers struggled. So first things first, I got to give credit to Illinois' offensive line, because they manhandled us. But again, talking about Ty, I was just disappointed because he played so well in those first 3 games. I kind of held him to a different standard. I was like, okay, you're going to go and do this, that, and the third in order to get us this victory. And he just didn't play very well. He didn't get any pressure on the quarterback. Nash got a couple pressures. Jamari had a couple pressures. Ty had 0 pressures on the day, according to Pro Football Focus. That's not great. Didn't really have too many tackles on the day. I just thought Ty could have been a bigger game wrecker. He really wasn't. He graded out pretty poor. Hopefully he gets a bounce back performance versus Purdue, because he's special, man. And Ty's had a very, very good 3 weeks. Hopefully this doesn't deter him. I feel good about his future. I was just kind of disappointed to see him. And again, the entire defensive line just did not play up to snuff. But I'm sure they're going to bounce back. Again, we keep things optimistic. Riser for Nebraska. I'm super excited to say this one. Sear Wright was incredible for the Huskers when Tommy Hill went down with injury. What Sear Wright did versus the Illini is something that we should talk more about, because he was incredible on the day. He only gave up 2 catches for 10 yards total. And you know what I really liked about Sear Wright? Because we know how physically gifted he is, from an athleticism standpoint, from going up and, just guarding a guy one-on-one. But the big question mark around Sear Wright was his physicality. Can he go and make a big tackle? He did that versus Illinois. Super physical, good tackling, good speed, good instincts. That's what Tony White requires of his defensive backs. And Sear Wright, he's proven to TW why he should be on the field more. I thought he played awesome. If Tommy Hill's back at any time soon, I think Tommy and Sear Wright should be your 2 corner starters. With how Wright played, he was so good. And you go back, and I was rewatching the game. Illinois was exploiting Marquise Buford at corner. They weren't trying to go after Sear Wright because he was locked down. They were going after Buford. They were going after the veteran. That tells you how good Sear Wright was. So I think Sear is in for a very good year. I was very happy with his performance. Let's go back to a faller. This entire offensive line, man. The entire offensive line was really, really poor versus Illinois. Everybody. The center play was not good from Ben. The guard play was not good, and the tackle play was not good for the Huskers. It was a complete failure from the ground up, and we couldn't get the running game going. That was the most important thing. I told you guys this in the pregame. Whoever would get the running game going first would win the ball game. Illinois did just that, and they won. We could never get the running game going. And when, Dante Diallo did get free, he was going through the C gap. He was getting away from the offensive line. He wasn't going through it. He was going around it. So this offensive line was not good for the Huskers. And again, I'm going to give credit to Illinois' D-line. They were better than us, and they're talented. I will say this, in the pass pro, Raiola was pressured multiple times. It really got to him. Before this ball game, Raiola never had pressure. He had all day in the pocket. It's really easy to, be a good quarterback when you have all day. Rhule was still a very good quarterback versus Illinois, but unfortunately the offensive line just didn't do their part, and he got sacked a couple of times when he shouldn't have got sacked. Illinois had 5 sacks on the day and 7 TFLs, and also the offensive line had multiple false starts that killed the Huskers. I want to ask you guys a question real quick. The worst graded offensive lineman for Nebraska was Henry Letufsky. Of course, throughout the week, we had this big discussion because Henry Letufsky was starting over Micah Mazuka. And I said Micah Mazuka should start because this guy is the best offensive lineman Nebraska has. And he's the difference between us honestly having a really good running game and having a poor running game because he's that much of a difference maker. And so many people in my comment section said, Wilson, no, culture is more important than winning. We should sit Micah Mazuka. Where are you guys now? Okay, you're right. Culture's more important, and we lost because of it. I'm not saying not playing Micah Mazuka was the only reason we lost. That's foolish. But it surely was part of it because Micah would have absolutely played a part in us having a better running game. I'm just saying. And again, it's one of those things where it gives and takes. Yes, we want to have a good culture, but we also want to put a winning product on the field. Henry Letufsky played really, really poor throughout the entire game. He was the worst graded offensive lineman for Nebraska. We would have benefited from Micah, and we lost. Okay, we cared about culture and we lost. So where are you guys? Because unfortunately, that's just it. That's what happens. Anyways, that's my conversation about the O-line. That's my question for you guys. Let me know in the comment section. Let's get back to a riser. John Bullock for the Huskers was really, really good. Really, really good. He had 6 total tackles on the day, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble. That was huge for the Huskers. John Bullock, especially in that first half, was just dominating. And you want to know what I love about John Bullock? He's the only guy in this defense who plays with some juice. He plays like he wants to win every single snap. He plays with an edge. A lot of times I'm at these games and I'm just screaming, who wants it? Who wants to win the most? John Bullock is always that guy, it feels like. Food for thought. But I thought John Bullock played really, really good. Faller for Nebraska, Isaac Gifford has been, honestly, I don't even want to call him a faller, but he's been a perplexing couple weeks for him. Because this is the second week in a row where he's had a really, really bad Pro Football Focus grade. He graded in the 50s, which is not good. But here's the worst part about Isaac Gifford's performance versus Illinois. And this is something that I didn't expect from him. When you rewatch the film like I did, you will notice missed tackle, missed tackle, missed tackle from Isaac Gifford. That was never supposed to be a problem from him, ever. He's supposed to be the most secure tackler on the team. He was missing tackles left and right. That's what shocked me about Gifford. I know he's going to bounce back from that, though. I know he will because he's a really darn good ball player. But that was incredibly surprising from him. And you just can't have that from a veteran. You can't have that from a veteran. As always, we're going to end things on a positive note. Let's go over a riser. Ja'Cory Barney, once again, was great for the Huskers. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Janiran Bonner is no longer starting at wide receiver for Nebraska. Of course, Jamal Banks is a starter. Isaiah Nair's a starter. And then Ja'Cory Barney / Jalen Lloyd, they were trading reps as that third starter. But Barney played very well, needs to get more involved. That's the only thing I wrote. This guy's a difference maker, and he's slippery. And he, once again, gets on this list for being a riser. Buy some stock in Ja'Cory Barney. All right, guys, that's my riser and follower list throughout week 4, Nebraska versus Illinois. It was a tough week, guys. It was a tough week. And I could have easily talked about some other guys who didn't play very well. It is what it is. I have confidence in this team, however. I have confidence in this offensive line. I have confidence in Isaac Gifford. I have confidence in Ty Robinson. So I feel good about this unit. I know this is one of those humbling, losses that we needed to have. It's a wake-up call a little bit. We're going to bounce back. We're going to get the victory against Purdue because Purdue's not a good team. And I'm excited to talk about that game throughout this week. So that's my riser and follow list. Let me know down below, who is a riser for you throughout week 4? Maybe perhaps who is a faller? Let me know in the comment section. Hey, if you made this part of the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And as always, folks, go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and see you in the next one.